Alright, I hope everybody is well. I just came back from Spain, had a fascinating trip. Just today I got back from Alicante. Here's the airport lounge where I was chilling out before the flight. Although this video is pretty much about Bulgaria, I decided to entertain you with some Spain footage just for the sake of it. In any case, I know some people may wonder why I will leave Bulgaria in about 2.5 months, so I get to that brief and sweet. To be very precise, there is no one particular reason why I would leave, except that it was always the main plan that I've set myself up as a sort of flexible, yes, I know it's a hated term, but I'll say it anyway, expat. I initially planned to live in Sofia for about 6 months, just to have some big companies or one big company on my resume and then just figure something out. Eventually I did quite well. I'm very happy where I stand with my job prospects and such, and with my personal life as well. Although I initially didn't plan to stay for 10 years, it just turned out that way. Although I do not have any regrets in that regard. I spent basically my full 20s in Bulgaria, and for my 30s, I think, I wouldn't say I'm outgrowing it, but I'm just having some different demands. My perspective has shifted a bit as I entered my 30s, because you just keep developing your mind. It's eventually fully grown and you look at the world a whole lot differently than when you're, for example, 22, when I arrived in Bulgaria. Well, so what I really believe in is energy is pretty much not because I'm such a floating person, but I do sort of follow my gut and energies wherever they pull or push me, and I felt that ever since COVID, especially since 2022, 23, I feel a sort of drive to get away from Bulgaria, and I feel a pull towards some other location. And as I said, I cannot pinpoint a very single event that makes me want to go away from Bulgaria, and in fact until I really pulled the plug, I didn't even want to leave Bulgaria per se, but eventually I thought, okay, I'll just do it. It was eventually a whole pile-up of little different things that I started to get annoyed by, where I just thought, okay, I might just need some fresh energy. And combined with that, eventually my job said, hey, we know that you're sort of internationally oriented person. We would love to keep you, so we know that you're in Bulgaria quite long. If you ever want to switch, just tell us and we'll get you to another country. That's what I literally said, and my boss, she's from Poland. And in that very moment I said, yeah, I'll go to Poland. And it was very strange, because I hadn't thought about that at all. It was literally in the span of a second I said it, and then I later obviously reflected, like, what did I just say? What will the implications be of what I just said, right? What's going to happen now? Eventually I felt I just followed a certain energy that I got. It's obviously something that was in my mind, but not Poland in particular, but I was playing with the idea. And part of the 10 years I've spent here is basically reconnaissance, right? Where I just see where I would like to live and where I would not. So I would not like to live in Italy, for example, unless it's some very defiant location somewhere in the north. I wouldn't in particular like to live in the Netherlands, which is very crowded. I'd like some nature and some interesting locations around, and I found Poland to be a pretty sweet spot. The footage you see here in Spain is obviously extremely beautiful. This is Alicante right here. I was just walking around there yesterday, but in summer I basically die because I burn like a crisp, so it's not my climate. I could only be there in autumn and winter. I'm a bit of a northern person, also in terms of temperament. Now let's get to the pile-up of little things that have at some point annoyed me with Bulgaria. Now I want to give a bit of a wholesome perspective, because I've invested 10 years in this place, and I've shown it the way I truly believed, as the beautiful place it was, but it always comes with compromises. And the thing for me is that my living situation has always been a little bit negative, because I've had to suffer over the past 4 or 5 years of the place next to me. So I live next to a little establishment that when I came here, it just looked like a little cafe. But essentially it is a sort of burger joint where I don't know what they make. It is burgers and all sorts of stuff. Now this is part of probably the most expensive building in the most expensive area of the city. Literally in my building, I saw the person last week. I will not call the person's name, but he or she is the most, or I'll say in the top 3 most famous singers of Bulgaria, lives in this building. This building is not a joke. It is the most expensive place that I could rent because I just wanted the best of the best. So I was thinking, okay, a little coffee place next door, I don't really care. Thing for me is I work from home, so since 2020 and 2022 I lived here, and that's where the little pile up of negative things started, because before that I was office based, I was sort of going with the flow, everything was fine. But now I'm home, and suddenly what happens is I live here for a while and I find out that this place next to me has their fume exhaust connected to the ones of our building, which is, I've been told, not legal, because it was not in the design plan of the whole building that there would be a restaurant in this complex, right? And that's basically how they set it up, as a little coffee shop and nothing else. Eventually what happens, the wall is broken through and their fume exhaust of their industrial equipment is connected to ours. So what happens is the whole building is just engulfed in their fumes. And you would think that is nice because it will smell like burgers and fries. And I wouldn't even mind if that was the case. But the thing is that the things that come from an industrial furnace and oven, it literally blows into my flat. And it's not the smell of the food, because I wouldn't mind per se. It's the smell of literal fire and grease. It smells like a literal grease fire. And when I have my windows closed and they're cooking, which is essentially the whole day, it is literally the smell of burnt fat. I cannot describe it. And what happens is it's eventually a buildup of black smoke that enters into my apartment. So I literally get some issue breathing, because it is just insufferable to literally breathe in these fumes that are just quite heavy, and I shouldn't have to live like this. Now obviously what did I do? Talk to the landlord, talk to the building, the constructors, let's say. Literally nothing could be done. Now you would say, why haven't I talked to the neighbors? They threatened me once, because I once asked if they would be a little more quiet outside. I was working, I was in an important meeting, and I have a kid since about 2 years that is literally screaming non-stop. I know that's legal in the street, but it's like screaming bah, 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 like the whole full day. And once I asked to the lady, hey, I'm really sorry, I'm trying to work, would you mind? I'm just trying to focus. I know it's not easy, I know it's technically allowed, just would you mind? I'm just trying to focus a little bit. And she said to me, so she's basically the wife of the owner, let's say. She said, like a tough luck, you know. And I thought, okay. I haven't even complained about the fumes yet, but apparently nothing can be settled on, even if you ask nicely. And I've always had a suspicion that it's a sort of mafia type establishment, where I see guys hang out with neck tattoos all day long, and I'm not looking to confront anything. So what happened is I shouldn't have told or asked this lady to be a little bit more quiet, because non-stop, even up until the night, sometimes I hear them yelling, screaming, or they get in a fight, and the guy's like, Kumo, like at 1:30 at night. And I'm just starting to get a bit frustrated by this, you know. So I thought, okay, I asked this nicely. The answer is basically get lost. And I didn't in particular target this lady to ask. I just lifted my head over the balcony and said, hey, I'm really sorry, but like if the guy was there, I would have asked him, but he wasn't. Eventually what happened like the next week is I'm on my balcony having breakfast. Suddenly the guy comes over with his hat and he say, "Alazam Malko." So he said, "Come here." And he said, which is, I wouldn't say a threat, but it's it isn't a friendly sentence either. It was like, "Do you want good relations with us? Like, we'll give you a choice here." And basically he came up to me and said that I cannot be on my balcony making any noise or playing any music because I had some small music on with my Bluetooth speaker. Just on Saturday morning, it wasn't loud. But he said, despite I never even did that before, right? Because I never have noise, I never have parties essentially, but I, on my Saturday morning, apparently was too noisy, and the guy said I could never do that again because apparently he had some meeting or something on the street there. So I said, "There's some glass, and like I don't agree. Like, what do you mean? I'm not being rude or anything. I'm being soft. Like, and what's the problem?" And he said, "Just the glass," which is you'll agree in the end. And then I thought, okay, this is probably enough for. I could do several things. I could probably whip this guy, which I don't want to go there because I don't know who hangs around with him. He knows where I live. I'm alone, and I have nothing to win here. And essentially I realized, like, I've had a pile up of several things. Do I still want to be here or not? And then I realized, you know what? I'll shake this guy's hand, but I'll work on an exit. So I said, "Yeah, I'm sorry," I said in Bulgarian. "Never mind, it's whatever." I shook his hand and he backed down. Eventually I just sort of got over myself and I thought, okay, if this is how it goes, that's how it goes. I didn't really make any noise with my Bluetooth speaker anymore, even though it was the first time. We still say good morning to each other, like the problem was pretty much over by that point. But still the smoke was there. And I knew that there's not much I can do, I can win here. So what I did is I just taped off the whole exhaust, right? But still it gets through, like my whole apartment is essentially in black smoke up until the hallway sometimes when I don't open the windows. And when I open the windows, it's the yelling kid, which, all due respect, I know I live in a big city, I know people have kids and they're allowed to scream and yell, but it's heavily excessive. Like, I'm probably the most patient person in this regard because I've gone through this for 4 years now. And only after 4 years I decided to pull the plug. So I have been patient. I've never given a strange face to the people next door. In general, Dutch people are some of the most patient you'll ever find, and they're always willing to make compromises. And even in the end I just thought, okay, I'll just shake this guy's hand. There's nothing I can win here. I'll work on my exit. I taped off the exhaust. It doesn't really help. Because I'm still in all of these fumes all day, and with the yelling and the screaming of literally not only them but also the guests, and all day long it's like like outside. I'm just, oh my god, that doesn't ever end. Basically very hard for me to work right here. That's one of the things of the pile up that really annoyed me, and eventually I thought, I don't want to be surrounded by this anymore. If this is the most expensive area of the city, the most expensive building, I don't want to be surrounded by such people, I'm sorry. Eventually what happened, things just started to pile up because the energy sort of shifted. So a couple of weeks ago I'm with my Dutch friend outside, and I sold my office chair because, well, I'm moving out in a couple of months. Then we're standing next to his car, like basically behind his car, we just put a chair in the back. Woman gets in the car in front of his, backs up to get out of the parking spot, hits his car pretty hard, like it's literally moved back. It wasn't a handbrake, but we saw the ass of the car basically move back, you know. So the guy says, "Hey, you just hit my car, like what's up?" That's what he says. And she says, she starts like, "I didn't touch your car, what are you talking about?" Like she literally flat out denies it, you know, she just denied it. And he actually, my friend had a bump in the registration plate, and he said, yeah, you just backed up into this. Like, look at this. You gave it a dent. She got out. And she just completely rejected the claim that she just drove against his car. Like, she probably did it on purpose because she had a, what's it called? A thing you hang caravans on. That's what she had. And she just bumps into cars just to create some space for herself. Like, that's how it looked. Eventually she shifts the narrative and she blames my friend that she doesn't have enough space to drive out of the parking spot. So my friend, again, we're Dutch, we're very patient. He doesn't swear anything, he doesn't say anything. He just gets in his car, pulls it back a little bit to give her space to get out. I got a little angry with her and I said, because my Bulgarian is good enough, I said, yeah, you just hit it, and don't deny it. Like, I got a bit pissed. Then she gets out and she literally gives my friend the finger and she drives off. We're like, yeah, Bulgaria, yeah. And I see these little things more and more, and I think it shifted a bit in 2020 after that. At least in the city, people got a lot more egocentric, which up to an extreme point. And I found it a bit strange, like even... before my vacation I was in Bila, where I rarely go, but I just go to the just walk to the refrigerators, and I went to get some fruit from there. Now a guy pulls open the door, he's standing there with his friends, he pulls open the door to get some, I don't know, peaches, whatever, and a little plastic thing of, what's it called, raspberries, these red berries, just splashes all over the floor because it wasn't stacked up correctly. It splashes all over the floor. And I thought, okay, this guy will probably do nothing and walk on. Like, I've seen this a lot in Bulgaria. Probably some of the most passive people I've ever seen, not taking ownership of anything. So what he does, he just looks at the floor. It's splashed all red, literally right in the path where people walk. Nobody says or does anything. Neither do I, because it's not my problem. I'm leaving. I don't care anymore. The guy just looks at it, looks in front of him like a literal zombie, and he just walks away with all of his friends. And I thought, okay, you can call Western Europe degenerate, but in the Netherlands we never do this. We never, ever, ever do this. And I was thinking, if I had dropped these raspberries, I would be searching for an employee right now. I would say, hey, I just dropped these raspberries. I'm terribly sorry. Let me know the price. Let me know if I can help clean it up. I'm terribly sorry. Let me know what I can do. And you would probably think, oh, that's bullshit. You would never do that in the Netherlands. But today, in the airport lounge that I showed you in the beginning of this video, I was sitting in a lounge chair, right? And next to me is a Dutch guy. He's on a call with a Dutch friend, and he says, hey, I'll get to Amsterdam at this and this time. Just let me know when you're there and pick me up. The guy accidentally pushes over his bottle of beer, and it falls on the tile floor. It breaks, so the bottle breaks in half. So there's obviously some beer on the floor. It wasn't much, but the bottle was broken. There was a bit of glass, and there was a bit of beer on the chair as well. And I thought, oh, I'd be interested to see what this guy does. And according to literally what I said in my Dutch reflection, right, he picks up a bit of the glass with his fingers as much as he could, right, without scratching himself, puts on the table, walks all the way to the other end of the hall, gets an employee, brings her back, and he says, literally, I'm terribly sorry, I dropped this bottle of beer, what can I do? Can I clean this up? Just give me a little towel, what can I do? Once more, my apologies. And obviously she said, we'll take care of it, don't worry sir, have a nice flight. And he said, I do apologize, it was not intentional, thank you so much. And that's how we are raised, that's how we're raised. And in comparison, like even today I was flying back to Bulgaria, I see people smoke in the airport, I see people smoke on the tarmac, I've seen people smoke on the plane, on the bus to the plane, and when I confront them with that, I get physically threatened, just like by my neighbor. You get threatened with violence straight away. People are harder to reason with nowadays. Smoking in the tram, smoking in the store, smoking in the mall. I've seen zero of that in Spain. I live in a one-way street, and what I see every day is I see municipality workers drive against traffic. I live in a one-way street and see people, like when I stand outside for 5 minutes, I see perhaps 10 cars driving against traffic intentionally in several streets. I see a police car with a police officer driving and calling with a phone in his hand without a seatbelt on. I see all of this every single day, and honestly, I find that all of it lacks a bit of sophistication, and I want to have a little bit more life quality into my 30s and not be as if I'm in some sort of ghetto where I live in the fumes of my neighbors, where I get threatened for every single thing. I don't want to live this way anymore. I think I've had enough. It was good for my 20s where I was a little bit rough myself. I was paying off my study loans, eventually started doing better for myself. And I would like to have a bit more quality people around me. That's the true, honest reason. And I found it a bit lacking, in particular in Sofia. And it's not like they're not there, it's literally 50-50. And I suppose the non-quality people just stand out more than the ones that don't. But I see it every single day, and it actually gets worse. Since the moment I did pull the plug to move, I find only points that prove my point. I guess it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy that pretty much say, hey, you made the right choice to leave. Like I just walk outside again last week. A guy's just opening a pack of cigarettes, throws all the plastic on the ground straight in front of my building. I walk around the corner, there's a guy literally where a kid is drinking beer. I don't know, like a 4-year-old kid just grabs a bottle from his father. I see all of this stuff every day. I try to cross the street, nearly get hit off my socks. And I'm just like, yeah, no, sorry. And in Spain, the food you see here, like even in Spain, the prices are probably half of what they are in Bulgaria, and the service is just far superior. So I would prefer it for a vacation, but I suppose even for a living. I find the people very positively spirited, a lot of fun, and all in all, I just think I need some refreshment. So I don't want to bash Bulgaria too much either, because if it was a bad place, I wouldn't have stayed there 10 years, but I find that it's become very stagnant and in a sense degenerating, and I seriously mean that, where people are starting to care less and less, right? I see more violence in the news as well, violence against anyone. It says like husband kills wives all the time. Right now, for some reason, people start swearing more in the streets. People are just more roughed up, I guess, because of the inflation. People have a bit of a tougher life, and I'm just like, no, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. I would just prefer a bit of a different society, even if it is just to freshen up a little bit. And all of the little things that have just piled up, it's not a single reason I can pinpoint, but just the quality of my building. It's intensely noisy. I have my upstairs neighbor just shifting chairs around every day, and it sounds as if they're in my own kitchen, I'm quite noise sensitive, and in the city here, I would have hoped for, the most expensive building just having some sort of noise insulation, which it literally doesn't. So it's just proved to me I should never buy anything here. I shouldn't invest. It's all a pain to deal with, honestly. And I think I would be quite happy in Poland for at least a while, as long as it lasts, if even just for the refreshed energy, Just a combination of all of these little things that have basically made Bulgaria a no for my complete 30s. That's what I really think. So no matter if you agree or not, that's my observation, and it's just mine. So that's that. I do not want to complain about it too much, because it means I wouldn't go full circle. Like, the full circle means that I've been positive about this country. highlighted the things that are very positive about it, which are still a tremendous amount. Don't get me wrong, they truly are. But this video is a bit of a rant. And if I make it too much of a rant, if I get spiteful about this country or the people, I wouldn't go full circle in getting to closure with why I like this country and why I will continue liking this country. So I don't want to make it toxic in any sense of the word, but I find it, as I said, stagnant, a bit degenerating in the city. It's not improving that much. I want to be part of more positive development. Where's the infrastructure improving and stuff? Don't mind paying taxes for that either. Just refreshment, you know, which I found it a little bit lacking here. And the full closure is that I want to leave at the point where I still like it. Like, if I were to go into a certain path with my neighbor, let's say I just shoved him away or something, you go somewhere very dark, you know, and you never know what happens. And you end up disgruntled, and I don't want to become like that. I want it to be a little friendly rants, right, where I just rant a little bit, and that's all the negative I will share about Bulgaria, because if it goes too deep, like, right, I'm still a guest, and if I don't like it, I always have the option to leave. So I'm just glad that the full closure also contains a bit of understanding about what I like and also what I don't like, and just the fact that I can share that. And what I don't like is definitely part of the mentality that is plaguing the Balkans, I suppose. And if that's just the whole society, the Western society in general, which is just falling down, I don't really see that, honestly. Like, I was in Spain, I'm not seeing it. I'm just not seeing that. So I have a bit of a different view when I have my feet on the ground everywhere. Now, you would indeed be right if you claimed that all of the things that I just listed, including my neighbors, could have happened in any other place. And perhaps that's right. It may very well be. So this is not necessarily a complaint against Bulgaria single-handedly, because, well, it could have happened in Poland as well. Who knows? It's even worse there. It could very well be the case. I guess not, but who knows? The thing is, as I literally said, it's a pile-up of 1,000 things. And then it literally happened that I was on the call with my manager and their senior manager. And I was literally in the smell, like, you should imagine how I live, in the smell of fire. I needed to have the doors closed because of the noise of just people talking very loudly. I could not do the meeting with either door open, so I'm just blowing the AC just for a bit of air inside. And I'm literally, I wouldn't say choking on the air, but it's not far off. I'm not exaggerating here. It's just clouds of smoke, essentially, right? While I'm on this meeting, and she said, hey, if you ever want to leave, just give us a shout. And I said, yes, I very, very much do. And that was just a moment. And it was, the thing is that in that moment, I just had enough. And the pile up of these things was already big enough that I thought, all right, I need the change. Doesn't matter what, but I need some change. Just because I want to keep the good energy flowing, right? I don't want to stew in this. Because I'm sure I could tolerate another 5 years. I could tolerate another 10. I'd still be happy because I look for the positivity. But at the same time, I don't... you know, I'm also in my 30s. I probably don't feel like changing countries once I'm 50 or 60. Like, the time is now to make good steps and to grow, and with a career focus as well, right? Because the thing is, I could have chosen any other country. Like I said, it could have been Switzerland. They literally said it. That's how much they want to keep me. If you want to go to Switzerland, just tell us. We'll make it work for you. But I chose Poland. You might think I'm insane, but I most of the time know what I'm doing. It's a solid choice. And just part of the pile-up as well, it's literally from every angle, right? It's just, the ball really started rolling. And just because I'm in my 30s, it's not as much as in my 20s where I was thinking like, all right, what can I afford? Where can I afford to live? What can I do? It's literally the opposite now, and it's like, what do I want? And I'm still trying to get used to that mindset where I don't need to, like the worst thing could happen if I lose my job today, I can go live in Japan for a year without having to think about a job, 2 years. I can literally do that and then do something else. But I want to keep my job because I don't need to go to Japan for 1 year or anywhere else. It's a luxury position I have. I like to have my job, I like to have my sports, just to be part of something, you know. I don't necessarily need to travel long term, been there, done that. But I could if I wanted to. And the thing is that just right now, because I'm in my 30s, I can ask myself, I can switch from what can I afford to what do I want. And literally what do I want is to live in the old quarter, the classic quarter of Warsaw. Fancy city, excellent architecture, modern infrastructure is good. I live at a couple feet away from the metro. Beautiful pre-war architecture in this area. It's the best area of Warsaw again. Will I be disappointed and frustrated with some things after a few years? Oh, absolutely. I don't have any illusions about it. But it's a refreshing change, and that's a very nice thing. So the mindset is still shifting from what can I afford to what do I want. And I'm trying to come to terms with that, just the limited time I have, obviously, until retirement, which hopefully is far before 60 something, right? I still need to make some steps and just not be stagnant in the meantime. So the whole thing, which is another part of the whole pile up, is that I need to make some move eventually, or it's Bulgaria for my whole life. And again, nothing wrong with that, not spitting on anything, but you want something more, especially if you've set yourself up to not have children, you know. If you can take the steps, like, why not do it for your own benefit and just for the sake of it. It will very well be an interesting life, like it's already been for the past 10 years. So that's pretty much it. It's from every angle, it's come to this conclusion, and there's no hard feelings in any of that, even though there have been some hard feelings in the past. I pretty much quickly get over it and think in terms of solutions, turning something negative into something positive, and then you just move on with your life. And that's the best you can do. Alright, hope that was sort of interesting. Take care.